We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
I'm joined here by author of Shaped by the Master's Hands and my co-host, Lolita Robinson.
How are you this morning? You're looking all nice as always. How are you doing?
Thank you. Welcome to Super Bowl Sunday here on Joy in My House.
Seahawks.
Wow.
Who are you rooting for?
I am not a Patriot fan because I'm a New York Jets fan, which is the rivals.
And you and Van Erich is Steelers guy, so he said he just wants a good game. Okay, that's smart.
I want to thank all our listeners and viewers for being a part of the joy that we have in our house here on the LA Talk Live network. I want you to know that there's an array of shows here on latalklive.com. There's about 30-40 different shows. I want you to check them out when you get an opportunity. If you want to tap into our shows and our previous episodes, just click on shows, Joy in My House, and you can watch all of our archive messages.
That's right. But let's talk about you last week, young man. You had some pretty inspirational things happening with you.
Well, I train pro athletes, I train triathletes, I train everything from MMA to martial arts to archery, and now handgun self-defense.
I wanted you to do a show, but you said you feel more comfortable behind the scenes. But I think it's important for people to know that. So last week I
was at one of the Spartan races with a family of mine, and they were very interested in the family, and they wanted to sponsor, the company Spartan wanted to sponsor the family. And I think it's very interesting because they've really dedicated themselves to self-improvement. As a master, I've been teaching over 20 years.
Wow, I can't believe it.
To see this family come together as a united front to be a part of something that's challenging. They really face their fears with confidence, with perseverance. I mean, I was very impressed. I'm very proud
to be a part of it. But the thing that's beautiful, like our pastor was talking about relationships, but what's beautiful about you and how I met you, because you were Seth's martial arts teacher, is you do care about your people. You give your heart.
I do.
And you give your time to develop not only their martial arts, but their character. Would you say?
Yes, I agree, because I think that was bestowed upon me. I've had some amazing mentors. I've traveled to Brazil. I've traveled to Korea. And my master, my mentor, really took me under his wing. Even though there was some dysfunction there because I was very young and I wanted to grow up very quickly. But some of the foundation that was laid with my mentor really has helped me throughout the years, and especially now that I'm older. Like your parents tell you this and that.
Yeah, they do.
You look back and you're like, man, they were right.
Right.
Same with my master. He laid down a foundation of hopefully inspiring, motivating, developing. But at the end of the day, like Pastor was saying today in church, these relationships give back.
Right. And you got a little family with them too, because you've had a lot of changes. Yeah. Some of the people that were in your life that were maybe possible relationships are not there.
Right.
So it's kind of like giving you a little community too.
God takes care of me.
He really does. He really does.
He's put me in, I train 4 different families, and I train everything from the patriarch to the matriarch to the
that's awesome.
to the children.
That's awesome.
So to have that opportunity to be a part of their lives and for them to welcome me in with such love and not just love, the way they hold me on a pedestal really is very humbling. It's not a place of pride. It's more a place of, wow, they really care about me.
And you got to really walk your walk and talk your talk.
That's right.
You do.
So it's an amazing opportunity. And
well, congratulations.
I just keep saying this. My submission to Christ in my life has really allowed me to accept the love. We say in program, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't love yourself, if you haven't submitted to something bigger than yourself,
that's right,
you cannot give that.
No, and nobody wants it either.
It's
all hype. It's all you, and it's all vain. And people like confident. I like confident people. I can't wait to talk to the lady today. Beautiful, confident people that are humble. To me, it's just a wonderful package.
Right.
because they're helping you to become a better person, not arrogant and nasty and self-absorbed, but to just become who you are. So, and that's how I see you, my love.
Thank you.
My son, I love him so much.
Last week, I do want to touch on this because we had an amazing guest.
But the week before.
It was a week before, but we re-aired it,
right.
Which was Anthony Gill. He was an inspirational, motivational speaker, and he speaks on the behalf of the youth. He was 12 years old, and he gave a powerful message to all our listeners, viewers, and audience.
I have his little postcard. It just melts my heart, that he's getting out there, and his mother, and you can tell that they've had their challenges.
Right.
I think she's raising him on her own, and yet she's empowering him, and it was a blessing. The youth, your kids are probably going to come up and have a lot to say too.
I hope so, and I hope that they're vocal about it. I hope that they express the foundation that has been built, because I think when you're young, you're so looking ahead, you never really take the time to stop and say, man, this is where I'm at. This is the foundation that I have. So he was inspirational to me.
He really was, wasn't he? Both of us were speechless. It's never been the point where we were just like, there's nothing else to say. He said it all.
Yes, he really did.
So I'm looking forward to today.
Yes, if you're just tuning in with us, I want you to know, all our listeners and viewers, we want to thank you for being a part of the joy that we have in our house. I want you to know that you can stream us live on any mobile device on ustream.tv, but know that our website has been upgraded to the point where all you got to do is go to latalklive.com, and you can stream us live on any mobile device right on the network's website. You can also follow us on Facebook /JoyInMyHouse. We have a Twitter account, twitter.com /JoyInMyHouse. And our studio line is open for any questions or comments for ourselves, but mainly for the guests that are on at 323-473-3100. The number also shows up at the bottom of the screen. We have a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen.
We do.
We have Helen Wu. She is a speaker, radio personality, and she is the author of Self-Aid, Inspirations to Turn Your Struggles into Success. Her book is out. It's a bestseller on Amazon. You're not going to want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. I want you to stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. I'm joined here by recording artist Lolita Robinson.
Good to see you.
And our in-studio guest, Helen Wu. Welcome to the show.
Yay, Helen, she's beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
I want to make a quick correction when I get a chance. Self-Aid is not a bestseller. I just know it's going to be.
That's right.
Exactly. So I mentioned it as a bestseller on Amazon, but I want you to go out and find it. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But we did want to mention somebody who's out in the public eye right now who's really struggling, Bobby Christina right now.
Yeah.
Our prayers
go out to her family. We just wanted to just let your family know, and all of you, that our hearts and prayers are with her today.
Yeah, those struggles are pretty heavy, especially when you're in that dynamic.
And that's why it's important we're having these shows. There's help out there. You don't have to go through it alone. And so we just wanted to touch base on that.
And this is a very inspirational book and a very inspirational person.
Thank you.
Helen, well, again, thank you for coming on the show. I always like to let our audience and viewers know how we met.
Yes.
It is very rare that I actually take a guest from a PR firm or PR company, because it's a lot of, what do they call it when they market you, when they solicit you. But I pray about every show before it goes on, and God just put it on my heart. Honestly, I booked the show. I don't book the show. God really books the show. And I didn't have a guest, and I prayed about it, and I got an email that morning.
Well, it's
from the
a pleasure
PR firm.
being on, because I read about the two of you, and I just love what your message is.
That
and
is so
Thank
cool.
you.
Glad to be here.
So do you know the guy who?
The PR company is CMR,
Okay.
and your rep is Jeff Donovan.
Yes.
And I got an opportunity to speak to him too, and he was very professional. And it's always nice to speak to a professional and not just have somebody email me a written letter saying this is
he's
my
pretty
story.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing.
Well, we always like to let our audience and viewers know, to get to know you a little bit. Helen, we'll just get into your family of origin. We'll start there. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in China, in America. No, it's Chinatown, San Francisco.
Okay.
So, and it's really the first Chinatown. So it really is your China in
Oh
America.
yeah, and it's I remember I came up in San Francisco. When I was young, so Chinatown was very special. So how was it growing up there?
Well, based on you speaking to me, you may not guess that I come from one of the most oldest fashioned, old school style Chinese families, where really the woman is supposed to walk 10 steps behind the man. At home, the woman can have a say. In public, we're supposed to speak only when spoken to. It's that really old school style of upbringing we were raised at. And imagine how difficult it was for me, because I love to speak and I love to talk.
Wow. You have a lot of brothers and sisters?
I have one older sister who was born in my mom's hometown. I followed, and that's why I had a lot of struggles, because I was the unwanted child. When you have a girl already, what do you want next? You definitely don't want another girl.
Wow.
Oh, that's
and in
right.
the Chinese family, they want a boy.
They wanted a boy.
'Cause that proves, that they've succeeded.
So you already had your could you feel that coming up as a child? Did you feel?
Yes, I was told. I was told when I
Oh.
was a kid that when I came out, she wanted to push me back in. I was told a lot of very seriously, verbally strong words
Very, very
that I will take with me. I mean, listen, we've made amends. I forgive from the bottom of my heart. But I think years ago, if I spoke to you about the same story, I would be in complete tears and not able to really hold in my emotions. But I understand now. It's not about me wanting them to change. It's about me changing myself and making myself a better person.
You know what? It's very well said. That's what we talk about in credibility. I think a lot of people want to get in these seats here that haven't worked through. And so you've worked through the process. You got to the other side where you can make the forgiveness, but you also had to look at where you came from and deal with the pain.
Yes, exactly.
That's what gives you credibility to sit here and to share what you're going to be sharing today.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful, even though I was supposed to have a wee-wee.
That's all right. That's all right. Oh, no, Aiden is here, and we might have him next. He said a prayer that just blew us away, didn't he?
That's right, during our prayer time.
So we're getting these young motivational speakers coming. Aiden, we'll see you in about 2 years.
Well, I did want to touch on your faith. Now, were you a church-going family?
We went to church, and I'm sorry, it's not exactly for faith. It was because it was the least expensive private school.
Okay.
We came from a family, when they came to America, they lost insurance, they lost, they didn't speak English. So it was a situation where she wanted us to be in a private school, not a public school, because the public school system in San Francisco was not that great.
Wasn't that great? Okay.
A lot of difficulties for my parents to grasp. So we went to the cheapest, the absolute most inexpensive private school. That was a Catholic school.
Okay.
So I did grow up going to church, but it was our choice whether or not we went to church every Sunday. I went to periods where I loved church, and I would wake up everybody. It's time to go to mass. It's time to go to mass.
Oh, you get everybody. So where's your family? So your family, were they in China? Were they Buddhists or
I believe
how does that work? Because not everybody that's there are Buddhists, right?
You are correct.
See, people need to stop
and they were
generalizing,
allowed to talk about their faith too, because it's what the communist was about, right?
Right.
There's some Buddhists in my dad's background, and some just no belief at all.
Okay.
In my mom's background, there was faith in God, and there was some Catholic goers.
Okay. All right. Very well said.
Now, we were going to touch on what you already touched on, but I want to go a little deeper into, you were a woman in this Chinese family, but yet you were a lot more Americanized, but you were put down for it.
I was put down for it. In fact, wow, it's funny you asked that question, because she actually looked me in the eyes one day. I was in the 4th grade, and she says, "You are too American." I had no clue what that meant. Honestly, I'm a
Right.
kid, and I knew I was Chinese American. That's all I knew.
Right.
You are too American. I'm like trying to figure out, is that an adjective? I don't know.
Yeah.
What
What's too American?
what does that mean? Because I was proud to be an American.
And you were probably
Right.
outspoken.
I was too outspoken, but
You know.
I wasn't really allowed this kind of outspokenness at home.
Mm-hmm.
But out in school, people loved me. My uncles, my aunties, my grandparents, everyone just loved me because I love to talk and I love to be part of conversation.
And you're very personable.
Yeah,
so
you're
that
very
must have been very confusing.
It was very
You
confusing.
must have felt like you were split in half.
I
You
was.
go out and be this and then come home. And how did that affect you at that young age?
Well, let's put it this way. I was in tears a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was in tears a lot because I was fighting to be the real me,
Mm-hmm.
because I was not allowed to be the real me. And so that was very, very hard. And plus being verbally bashed every day
Mm-hmm.
that I was an unwanted child
Mm.
was very hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I literally was told that I was supposed to be a boy. And I
Right.
literally was told that I was picked up in a garbage can. I can laugh about it today, let me tell you. But I couldn't then.
But you know what? You're inspirational to other people who are right where you are right now. Wouldn't you say, Joel?
I agree.
We need people who've made it to the other side. Not in perfection. We're still, but you made it. You made it through that. And he's going to share more. You made something beautiful from that.
I'm grateful.
See, people, I want to read it.
Oh, thank you.
You know, people who are just head knowledge, you have to go through something in life to sit here in these seats and to share with people. You can relate.
I definitely can now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful I took all the difficulties and all the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, once you overcome it, you could feel
You
it.
could just see it.
You
You,
could feel
just
it.
light up the
Well, I wanted to also talk about dysfunction. What
Mm-hmm.
dysfunctions did you witness in your home?
Well, the verbal bashing was
Right.
mostly aimed towards me because there's 3 of us. My sister was the princess.
And she
Born in-
was quiet. She kind of kept her place. Or
She's not quiet per se, but she is the first child and my mom's pride and joy.
okay.
And then I came out.
Oh boy! Wow.
But then following me was a boy. The
Oh, so there
ideal
wasn't-
Chinese family.
oh
Right.
boy! So he became the little
So-
emperor, kind of, huh?
So he's the emperor. We've got the queen already, the sister that
gosh,
was
so you were
very
in the
much
middle.
a bully.
So you were in the middle.
Don't get me wrong, I love my family today very, very
No,
much.
but
I'm
we
talking
hear
about
you.
how we grew up. Yeah.
That's being honest.
Yeah.
So the dysfunction you were asking.
The dysfunction. Now, besides the verbal abuse that was mostly aimed at you, did you see any of that go to your siblings? Did you see any other dysfunction?
Yes, I actually saw that my mom actually almost enjoyed seeing my sister and I spat. And my sister, my mom and my sister kind of ganged up on me a little bit. My brother didn't have a clue because he's the boy getting in trouble on his own. But as far as the women, my dad
Yeah, I was
was
going to ask
always
you.
working.
Oh, so
he's
he's
hardworking.
And I was daddy's little girl. I wanted to tell him everything, but I couldn't because my mom would just give me the eyes. And I know that I have to spend more time with my mom, and I'll get hit every day. I was hit a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Do you think that your mother was trying to instill something in you?
I look back today,
I think you had a lot to overcome. I would imagine coming from China to here.
I don't really know, but I can tell you right now, she was only 19.
Oh,
I was quite immature at 19.
right,
Right.
Yeah,
So,
right,
so
right.
I made so many mistakes in my childhood and my
Right.
youth. I can't fault her. She was immature. She was
Right.
young. And I'm sure,
Culture shock coming here
Yes.
to this country. We're not excusing what you went through or minimizing,
No.
but I think when you're healed, wouldn't you say that about your family, that you can give people more grace?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
How about with your dad? I mean, you've had
Same. My mother was always, the expectation was so high I could never
Right.
meet. Didn't matter what I did. My father being a physics professor from Mexico and one of the first ones to get, his master's from in physics, being dirt poor, she just thought I was gonna be Bill Gates. And then when I didn't meet that expectation, she was so disillusioned in me that I just felt I'm never going to meet up to that. So why even try? I'm going to go the other route. And that it's still a choice that I made, but it was difficult to assimilate. It was difficult to be a part of society when my own mother wasn't proud of me.
Right.
Which is kind of
You did what I did. You did what I did. I rebelled. Oh boy,
okay,
did
now
I rebel.
we're getting into okay. But that's what happens. So
and let's talk about some of that rebellion, because I
yeah.
think, like I said, I can relate to it very easily.
Yeah,
you know,
it reminded me of your story, kind of when she was talking a little bit.
so
Not
tell
the
us,
abuse,
because you
yeah.
went through mental and physical abuse from the family. You had some grief. I saw you touch on that, and I wanted to touch on grief, but there was substance abuse, betrayal, and depression. But let's start with the grief.
There's so much. Well, the grief was I lost my grandfather when I was 13, and I was very close to him.
Did he live with you guys?
We
Not
lived
too
in
far.
a Chinese household. We had like 3-story townhouse kind of.
Right.
So we're on the 3rd floor with our family. Our uncle, aunt, and their kids are on the 2nd floor. Then the bottom floor was my grandmother and grandfather.
Okay.
So losing my grandfather was, very painful. I was 13, and it
Did he talk to you a lot and give you some kind of connection?
I think it's just I maybe seeked male influence because,
Right, your dad
because
was
the
working.
female influence was a little hard on me and at home. So I had a very close connection with him. But after he passed, I'm so grateful that 5-6 years later, I finally had a great relationship with my grandmother, who became my best friend.
Wow.
Right, but meanwhile, you were talking about the rebellion during that period.
Oh,
and
the
and
rebellion.
grief.
There's a lot of stuff going on during the rebellion phase, like you did, Joelle. When I was 16, first of all, I had good grades. I brought home A's and B's. I did okay. I wanted to make my mother proud. I
Right.
wanted to do everything right, but I was getting no recognition for it. So finally, I realized if I'm getting no recognition for it, but my sister gets highest praise,
Right. Why?
I'm just gonna mess up on purpose.
Okay.
Shame on me, though.
And
I wish I didn't.
We'll have a party or just go out.
Ooh, the wrong friends, drugs, motorcycle gang.
What?
I mean, yeah, okay.
Boy, would you imagine?
Exactly.
Oh my
the
gosh.
Chinese motorcycle gang.
No. Wow. What did it? Well, we don't want to give them any. Okay, so you got involved. Okay.
They all had motorcycles,
Wow.
and they were all on Quaaludes. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm talking about drugs now.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was hanging out with this crowd because I was like free to be crazy, and because my mom didn't have faith in me, and because I was like, hey, she thinks I'm bad anyway, I might as well act bad.
That was me.
That's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
You felt like that
I
too?
felt like, I couldn't meet the
Like you couldn't
expectations, so
measure
why
up.
not just do whatever I wanted? Got me in a lot of trouble. Got pregnant at a very young age, drugs, partying, and then started having my own studio at a very young age. Put you in that position of power.
Right.
Kind of made you feel kind of like, it made me feel like a god. I can do no wrong. But then that sent me on that path of
Right.
destruction, self-destruction.
What was your family doing during that time?
Well, I hid a lot of stuff from them.
Okay. They didn't know.
Because I hid a lot, but what was my family doing? I just didn't feel that I was being nurtured
So
anyway.
they didn't know.
So they knew some. Like, I think my mom would look at my eyes one day, and I'm trying to hide it.
But then
I
the
think I was quite high.
You're a little bit more joyful than usual.
I was like, hold it together, Helen.
Wow.
So-
We're not trying to
That's
make
fine.
light, but you have to.
No, yeah,
You have
I went
to.
through a phase.
Right.
Many different phases.
Yeah.
But it was finally my 30s where I really came to, and that was beautiful. But I went through a lot of phases until then.
Well, let's talk about the phase right before that, because this is through betrayal and depression. And I think this is one that we can get over substance abuse. We can get over even grief, which not really, but yes, you kind of learn how to accept it. But betrayal and depression is something where a lot of people get stuck in, especially even when they're a little bit older and more mature. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Betrayal and depression happened as an adult. So yes, those are the two probably most close to my heart in how it relates to everyday life today. Betrayal was the biggest, because when I give you my love, I give it all. That's to my family, to my best friends. I have a best friend here today. I give it all. I love with just complete unconditional love. There's just no such thing as anything else. And I had a best friend, a very dear friend that I trusted so much. She wiped me clean. I mean, literally, I trusted her so much. And people say that you hear these stories in the movies or whatnot.
No, but I hear what you're talking about.
I trusted her so much. She had access to everything.
Money and everything.
I had a lot of zeros.
Wow.
Wiped me clean. And it wasn't even the
Oh,
money.
that's what you're talking about. You're talking about money.
She
Okay, so
financially
obviously
destroyed me.
you were probably in some kind of a business
And
at this point.
my son was an infant.
Oh, and you know what? what happens is like in my situation, when there's abuse and there's not a lot of people you're giving out all the time, and somebody comes into your life. For me, I was like water, a thirsty soul. So I just really gravitate. So I'm like you. I give my heart really. And this is what you did to this woman. You trusted her.
She killed me. My heart was slaughtered. I mean, I was so destroyed, more so than the bank account. Even though the bank account was a huge thing,
right.
It was the love that I felt for her. I could not believe someone can do that to me.
Were there any red signs in looking back now?
Looking back, no.
There were not. No, you know what?
I love so much. I'm blind.
Right.
I was completely blinded.
Right.
I was blindsided beyond means.
Gosh.
Now, was it an
Shocked.
all of a sudden kind of thing, or
Yeah.
was
Well,
it progressive?
I guess it was progressive when you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was an all of a sudden thing when I came to. When I came to, I'm
And
like,
you went to.
did this just happen? It just happened. She wiped me clean. And so all my properties, I had properties in Florida, all gone because I could not afford to keep them up. Then the economy crisis dropped.
Yes.
And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. So she took everything I had. I couldn't save myself out of the economy that was dropping at that point.
Did you take any kind of legal action?
No, because I don't have anything on paper.
Oh, gosh.
I trusted her that much. She was like closer to than a blood relative. Do you see?
Wow.
Some lessons that come, I'm sure now.
I'm more careful.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sure you learned a lot in that. But there's sometimes you have to go through, don't you? When you say,
sometimes you got to get hit pretty hard.
you got to go there.
But it's developing you for what God has for you in the future. And
Mhm.
it's tough if you're going through a challenge right now and a struggle. You might not see it right now, but there is a silver lining. There
Mhm.
really is. And I wanted to talk about that. What helped you through your struggle? What
And-
helped you through that dark
And
time?
you're depressed too, because you were
Okay.
talking about depression. Was that part of it there?
Well, yes, the depression happened twice in my life, of serious depression, where I'm crying 7 days a week. Every waking moment, I wake up to tears. I go to sleep with tears. I shower with tears. I'm driving with tears. I mean, literally, it was
No,
such
that's
a devastating
devastating.
mode.
That's
And
gotta
you
be.
know you're depressed because you can't even try to put a smile on your face, and it was just so hard. Ellen DeGeneres helped me.
I was going to ask you, do you know Ellen? Or, do
I
you know
don't-
her personally?
I'm going to.
Oh, okay, I was about to say you quote Miss DeGeneres everywhere.
This is going to be the bestseller, just like I'm going to be on
Go.
Ellen's show.
Go. You know what? Hey,
Good for you.
there you go. But Ellen helped you.
I watched an hour a day.
Okay,
And I said,
she's hilarious.
I'm laughing so hard, and
Oh,
I'm
she's
crying, the
funny.
good kind of tears.
Okay,
You know, the stuff that you just see her giving and just being so incredible to others. And I said, if I can laugh like this in 1 hour, for 1 hour a day, I can do this throughout the whole day.
Oh.
And so she started giving me I started looking for inspirations. That's why I wrote the book.
Yeah, you're going to get into that. We can
Yes.
because I don't want to jump ahead. But in that, so what was the other depression? Because you're laying a foundation,
Right.
are you?
Well, the last one really was the betrayal and this biological donor, let's call him.
Okay,
He
all
abandoned
right.
my child anyway.
Okay,
so
we understand. Okay,
he was a very, very verbally abusive, and I felt that he was going to be physical abusive soon. The look in his eyes
So
and
you
the
hightailed it.
emptiness, the fear that I lived in,
Mm-hmm.
really, really, and I'm a strong woman, but I was living in fear, tiptoeing around my home.
Mm-hmm.
And if I picked up the phone to call someone, he would stand literally 2 feet away from me, looking at me, seeing what I would say, hearing, and making sure that I will not say anything about how scared I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I was living in fear. I went to church 7 days a week, by the way, during that time. 7
Okay.
days a week really helped me. I talked to my higher power. I talked to my son. I was pregnant at the time. So, yes.
That's beautiful. Well, see, you covered a lot of stuff, so now you can build on this fantastic book and wherever he wants to take
But
you.
very quickly, what would you tell somebody who's maybe going through the same struggles and
Yeah.
challenges that you just faced with betrayal and depression? You mentioned how you went to church. You found a kind of a safe haven. You know, God places people or situations where you can go and kind of get that relief. What would you say to somebody out there who's listening and viewing who's maybe going through some of the same challenges?
I would say, and that's why I believe in self-hate, I would say to please start caring for yourself. You have to start with acknowledging we're not perfect. None of us are.
Right.
So if we all acknowledge one piece that we're not perfect in some area, we can start helping ourselves. One little inspiration a day, one quote a day, one smile a day, that starts the progress.
So that was the healing for you,
It was healing.
like we're talking about.
One inspiration a day was my healing. After Ellen DeGeneres, I started looking for positive words. Words are so important. That's why I put them on in my book.
Oh.
And we talk about that, changing your
Yes.
mind and staying
Yes.
positive. And one of our guests that came in, Paul Lobo, gave that New Year's message of renewing your mind and staying positive.
And the messages that you get. Because as children, I got a lot of negative messages too. A lot of things, there was alcoholism and things that were said over me. Those are, we could do a show on cursing, so how you can curse children by what comes out of your mouth. So it's like God brings a healing community around. So you didn't have that, so you found it for yourself. Inspirational things. So you're telling people who don't have a community, start with yourself.
Start
right?
with yourself. It's not selfishness. It's actually loving yourself. That's the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's so important. I did want to go on some of your accolades. Now, you're the host of a weekly radio show called Self-Aid Success Stories. So you have a weekly radio show. You've written your first book, Self-Aid, Inspirations to Turn Your Struggles into Successes. And we'll come back to your book. But you're also working on your second book now, which is Self-Aid Success Stories.
It's the same name as my radio show, yes. I'm on hiatus right now with the radio show.
What are you doing during that time? Are you just reinventing yourself, young lady? Because you've done quite a bit.
I'm promoting and really just enjoying the process of self-aid, inspirations to turn struggles to success.
Do you guys show in the book?
Yes, we
Self-Aid?
showed the
Yes.
book.
You
We showed
did
the book.
again.
That's it.
So that's like a Band-Aid. Now I'm
Like
putting it
first
together.
aid.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
First
First
aid.
aid.
Okay, that's really
So-
beautiful.
So yeah, because it's aiding myself.
Right.
I care so much. I think that we all should help ourselves by saying that we're not perfect, by saying that, okay, I may have a problem. I may have a little issue. I could be better at it.
Well, yeah, I think people get mixed up, especially with we're a Christian community. They get a little kind of, when you talk about self-love, we're not talking about being like narcissism.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't understand self-care. Jesus said, you love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Gotta love yourself.
You have to. So we're not talking about being narcissism. We're talking about taking, like you said, you were wounded. And you took steps to find ways to help yourself, to bring yourself out of this so that you could give to others. Is that
Exactly.
kind of...
Completely. Because
Yeah.
I will never expect my mother to change. I have to change.
There you
I
go.
have to be
Right.
the change to make it work.
There you go.
So,
There you
no.
go.
Well, that's perfect. That leads into the next one. Next question is, what has given you such a passion to now give back? You know, you went through this challenging time and you come out of it and you have joy now, but now you're willing to give some of that back. Why give back?
Well, all the struggles that I've been through, somehow, some way, my friends and even strangers come to me for advice and find that I can pump them up and make them happy, and because I have a positive outlook
You
in
do.
life.
You do,
You're
and
very
that smile.
So, and
Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, yeah.
so I feel like, God, I wish I had this when I was really down.
I was going to ask you, did you have any mentors at all?
Ellen.
Ellen, girl.
and my grandmother.
But
my grandmother passed.
Okay, all right.
So-
Okay, so you were saying you wish you had someone.
Yes, and so my passion is that if I can influence one person, it would make me happy. It would make me feel like I'm giving my message and I'm doing something right in this world. I want to help. I want to make other people happy. I want them not to suffer like I did. And I want them to know that if they are suffering, that they can get out of it.
There you go. That's
Well, that's so important because we go through such struggles, and in program we say how God doesn't waste a hurt. So we've gone through our challenges and we've done the work, and now that we've come on the other side, or at least are somewhat further along on our journey, we have to give back. And it's interesting that you went above that, not just giving back when you meet somebody, but you wrote a book. How
yeah.
was
What
the
came
process?
first? Yeah, the book. Yeah.
Wow, let's see. The radio show came first, Self-Aid Success Stories.
How did you get involved with the radio show?
Well, let's see. I went to a marketing seminar, and I found that I'm going to reinvent myself. I've been destroyed by my best friend financially,
And yeah.
and I was in the movie business for a little while, but it was a little too Hollywood for me.
Yeah. Did
We
you
were
have that
just
down
talking-
there?
I do not. I
Okay,
do
so
not
let's
know.
hear about that. How'd you get over there?
I
Girl,
don't
you get
know.
around.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I did so many things.
Did you want to be an actress at first?
I did do acting.
man.
I
Okay.
studied acting, producing. I mean, I did all that. I did some independent films, and I produced. And the thing is, I didn't feel like I was the real me.
Okay.
I didn't feel like it was me, and I think I was still in a growing process then.
Right.
And so what I do today, it is completely and utterly, completely just me.
So you didn't want to do the TV route, whatever. So when you went to the marketing thing, you thought of radio?
I woke up. I thought of
Okay.
self-aid. I thought of what do I love? What do I love the most? And self-aid came to the brand self-aid because I help myself every day.
There you go.
And so self-aid, it's another word for self-help, but I'm coining self-aid.
So how did you get the radio?
How did I get the radio? Let's see. I'm on toginet.com, Toginet Radio. And how did I get it? Just, I knew the people in the radio station and they wanted me to speak because I was involved with all the right entrepreneurs, the associates, and now I did self-aid success stories, which is exactly what I love. I want to share my success stories, and I want other people, my guests, to share theirs.
Okay. Wow. So my line of questioning also with like Joel is, you're talking to the audience out there. Okay, you've been devastated. Your family is devastated. You've had friends who have devastated. You've been depressed. It's a step. So then Ellen kind of helped you to laugh an hour. So then you had to be willing to get out there, right?
Yes.
That had to have been scary.
Had to wake up.
Like you had to do the radio. I mean, they offered the radio to you.
And I did not want to do it.
Yeah, he was
really?
Like, no.
Yeah.
Well, you're good at it. You're meant to be here.
Yeah, you know what? God had a plan the whole time. As long as I get out of his way, things kind of go in the right path. That's when I get in myself and I start thinking, I'm good enough for this, or I should be doing this, that I end up very disappointed and very unhappy.
Right.
And with you, when you went to the seminar, you found yourself wanting to reinvent yourself, and God tugged on your heart to do the show.
So you can't just, self-aid is not just sitting there. You got to also be willing to take risks, right?
Exactly. And live it. I'm living it. I'm not just saying it. I believe words are so powerful, but I believe that you have to live those words.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Helen Wu and her new book, Self-Aid, Inspirations to Turn Your Struggles into Success. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joy in My House. I want you to stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Joel Ramirez.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on LATalkLive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, I'm Ro Williams, and I would like to invite you to join GospelRhythms.com live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our new show, Gospel Rhythms Talk Live. Join us as we celebrate, promote, and elevate Christians in entertainment. So don't forget to tune in to Gospel Rhythms Talk Live exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio under R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is Gospel Rhythms on LA Talk Live, where we don't just talk about it, we are about it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
I'm joined here by author Shaped by the Master's Hands, Lolita Robinson, my
glad to
co-host,
be here.
and our in-studio guest,
Helen Wu.
Welcome back to the show. And we're going to talk about her new book, Self-Aid, Inspirations to Turn Struggles into Success. Now, on the commercial break, we were talking about heritage and Lolita mentioned something that I wanted her to ask you, because it's very true. We have a stigma, especially out here in LA and in Orange County area, of Chinese being very intellectual, very
almost like there's just you all play violin, and I think there's a comedian who does a lot about about the stigma on the Asian community.
Is that Margaret Cho?
Yeah, I love her. I think she's awesome. You know, were you? Yeah, the stigma. How is that coming up with that? You're all. You said you got to be. I'm thinking is that permissive in the Asian I never heard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had A's and B's, and yeah, I guess why do they expect us to be all brainiacs and nerds and quiet and submissive?
Exactly.
Because hello, we're not all.
No, you're not. And I also think that like I said, my best friend Julius, I haven't seen you in a while. I miss you and I love you. We used to talk, and it's almost like the Asian community is marginalized. You know, at least with the black community, we're on TV more. We're and the Hispanics, but the Asian community, to me, especially in Hollywood, I feel like you're marginalized. At least now Channel 7 is having a show for Asian Americans. Do you feel that? Did you feel that way when you were in Hollywood? Or just in life?
Because I played a role in something.
Okay.
A romantic comedy where I was the naughty Japanese gal, because there are no other Asian roles.
Right.
And so I don't know. They're not really. Are they still standing back? Maybe.
I hope not.
The culture maybe wants to hold us back.
I don't know. I hope not. I'm just really excited about. We just wanted to bring that into that you are speaking out. You are an outspoken woman, but you know what? It's beautiful though, because the culture is changing. The times are changing. And I still hear respect for your culture.
I love my culture.
Mm-hmm.
I love. This is my culture. This is my background. I'm Chinese American and love it.
Mm-hmm.
But do I wish they were a little more Western? Yes.
Right. Okay.
Do I wish they opened up a little more? Yes. Because they think that being open is like not a good thing. They think we're not supposed to show emotion. We're not supposed to be expressive.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be fun, wild ladies, because women are supposed to be more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
What are you guys supposed to do with your feelings? When people are crying, in your families and the culture... If you feel other than just, what are you supposed to do with the feelings?
Hide it.
Wow.
Hold it in. We didn't even hug. We don't even hug in this family.
Wow.
No hugging, no kissing.
Okay.
And it was scary just in second grade in communion, where Sister Antoinette says, I have to kiss my mom on the cheek, and I was scared to death.
Right.
Wow.
After receiving the communion, I was supposed to go kiss my mother. I knew there was going to be an issue, so I lean over because I have to do it because the teacher said I had to.
Right.
And she shakes her head away.
Oh, wow.
So it was tough.
You had a lot to overcome.
That's the Chinese style.
That's
our
style.
old school Chinese style.
But God is doing incorporating different things,
But because, again, we talk about how God has this plan for us. And because of what you went through, the challenges and the struggles, even the disconnect, now you're out there speaking on it. And that's a brave thing to do, as we talk about, to come out and be as transparent as you're being today.
Mm-hmm.
But not only did you do that because you wrote the book, Self-Aid. Tell us what people can find in the book.
Yeah.
Tell us what people will find inside this.
Give some examples.
Well,
what's your favorite?
First and foremost, what I took with me are these powerful words that inspired me. And I used them as my affirmations, my inspirations, if I'm in a bad mood, and we all get in one of those once in a while, right? I will read something from this, and I actually do change my mood. It can turn a frown to a smile. It can turn a bad situation into a good one, and it can change a negative thought into a positive one.
Well, give us an example. Show them what you did with.
All right.
How?
Let's see. Love and kindness are never wasted. They always make a difference. That's Barbara DeAngelis. And from that, I wrote, every good deed pays it forward. Like a smile or a laugh, love is contagious. And these become my wooisms.
Oh, that's what I was amazed at.
These are my quotes.
I was looking at that. I was trying to think, because you had Ellen in there. I thought, oh, okay, hey, Ellen has endorsed this. Then I saw all the other great writers that you have. Well, and we're looking at it. And then you have wooism.
Yes.
So explain what you did. That's, because I asked you, well, it's not plagiarism.
No, wooism's my thoughts.
Right.
My thoughts, my words, my belief, my affirmations from the inspiration I got from the famous quote above. So, there's Woody Allen's in here. I am thankful for laughter, except when milk comes out of my nose because it's funny. Yeah. That's Woody Allen. And I would write, I am confident to say that laughter keeps me quite young. Age is just a number.
Wow.
And so, these are things that empower me. And there is a laughter chapter.
And that took you through your depression.
Oh, my goodness.
Explain
I had
that.
all these like in scrapbooks and all little pieces of paper, and that's how I put my book together. It's things that I had to write down.
Different chapters in there.
You lived
Tell
on
us
that.
about some of the chapters, because you start off with some of the chapters that I thought were pretty interesting, that you actually have self-aid,
It's my acronym.
esteem, love, laughter, freedom, attitude. But let's talk about the self-aid acronym.
That's exactly, you just started
I
it.
just-
Yes, well, self-aid is an acronym. S stands for the main title, self-aid, helping myself every day. E stands for esteem. So I work on confidence, I work on my self-esteem every day, and I work on giving esteem to others too. L has 2 chapters under it, is love and laughter, because you can't.
That is really
skip
good,
that.
Helen. That's awesome.
And F is freedom, and it is about what I did and what I hope everyone can do with their challenges, that they can let it go. They've got to free themselves. Freedom is so important.
But words are very important. Like for us, scripture does that for me too. And plus I like to read a lot of autobiographies and listen to different speakers. But that's what we talk about. Faith comes from hearing, and then the Lord talks about how we're to transform our minds by the renewing of our mind. So
So true.
by having these affirmations to counteract the negativity, and then plus having people around you, is how you can break through this depression.
Oh, that
Because
is so
you carry
true.
around these negative thoughts. Is that what it was when
Oh.
you were depressed? Is that what this was doing? Was
Huge.
counteracting what was going on in your head?
Exactly. And I understand exactly what you just said, because I felt those negative thoughts and those negative emotions, and to read something positive to get myself out of that, it's so amazing.
See, that's important. That's why we're reiterating that for the audience out there. You have these thoughts and you have this negativity, you have this destruction. And when you're in a family and that's transformed generation to generation,
Right, those
18
generational
years,
curses.
you're programmed with this stuff. So you have to, like what we do in our program, our 12 step, we are reprogramming our mind. We're reprogramming our lives to get rid of this this sick thinking.
And it's a process. It's not something that's done overnight. But as you continue to do it, like you said, every day, wake up and get some affirmation.
How did it work for you?
For me, it was going to meetings.
Right.
I remember going to meetings thinking, these people are crazy. They have some real problems.
Right.
That's not me. But slowly it started reminding me, well, I have a little bit of that, a little bit of that. We're not more like this. And then started really hearing the blessings that people were getting because they were being, they were
stayed.
allowing God to change their heart.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have programs. So we have books that we have to write in and journal.
Right.
And that process really took me out of myself.
Out of your head, not of your, yeah, you're right.
And that's kind of what I see in this
In
book,
your
Self-Aid.
Yeah.
That you take yourself out. You
That's it.
listen to famous quotes, but then you internalize it. And then what comes out of you were the wooisms,
Yes.
which I thought were great.
I'm cracking up at that. And I was thinking with each chapter, you had to work through it. Was it stuff that you thought about?
Well, with each chapter, it was
Yeah.
the different areas. Like I had self-esteem issues. That was one of the reasons why I couldn't get over certain things, and
Right.
that's what causes jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
You should appreciate your peers, not be jealous or envious
Right.
of them. You should love them for what they are.
Thank you, Ellen.
Because you can learn from them.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can learn.
Yes.
I learned from the greatest.
Yes. Yes.
So you have to love them and appreciate them.
But when you wrote it out, was it healing for you?
So healing.
See, that's what we're giving people. Okay,
So
what was it
healing.
like when you wrote it out?
So healing, first of all, is the thought, and then
Right.
you put it into words.
Mhm.
And once you see it on paper, wow, you act on it.
Mhm.
You act on it.
Mhm.
The more you say it, the more you act on it. I think it's so powerful.
And like you said, you're walking this walk. It's not something that you wrote, gave it to a publisher, and then left it. You're
Exactly.
currently going through your book signing tour, going to different places and doing the signing of the book and the release of the book. So it is something that you're not just saying, but it's something that you're living.
Exactly. I really, truly believe I live with self-aid. Self-aid is the most important thing that I take with me every single day.
But you said something that's really important about the self-esteem. We get powerful. I'm a singer. We get powerful. And I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to rejoice with other people and not be jealous, because nobody can take our place. I write books. I didn't write that. I wrote Shaped by the Master's Hand. You write your own programs and curriculum. There's room for all of us. And when you get into feeling bad and putting yourself down because somebody else is doing something, you're right. It's, I mean, you started that.
Yeah.
So did that help you in overcoming your self-esteem?
Oh, most definitely. Most
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
I think it's the beauty of it, the beauty of learning.
Well, I like what you said about
Wow.
self self-aid.
Yeah.
Self-care is never a selfless act. It is simply good stewardship of the only gift I have. These are your quotes. The gift I was put on this earth to offer others. No, that was
Peter.
That was Parker. That was Parker Palms. But your wooism, I like what you said. When it comes to the realization of self-aid, it is not a selfish but a necessity. You gain the power. I gain the desire to improve myself daily. And I like that word daily because it wasn't something that you just did overnight. It was something that you had to kind of reoccur.
And you're still doing it, I'm sure.
Still, every day. Mm-hmm. Every day.
And you realize that there were so many areas of your life that needed to be worked on a daily basis. Now, I feel stronger and more confident than ever to have been given the greatest gift of all, and that is the gift of being able to help others, or the gift of loving others.
That's exactly what self-aid is about, because we are here all to help one another, to serve one another, and we cannot do it if we don't help ourselves.
Right.
So that's
right.
We have to start there.
And like I said, people can see it's not that something you read, it's something you live through.
I live through every day.
That's what testimonies are all about. That's why we love to have these. I was just blown away by the wooisms. I was like, oh man, how beautiful, because you had to think that through.
Well, Teresa Velarde, my editor, just came out one day, because it used to be just Helen Wu, and she goes, Helen, you've got to call your quotes wooisms.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Okay?
But it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Now, I did want to talk about the bestseller here, Sexy.
Hey.
Sexy with no boundaries.
No boundaries.
Okay, now I was like, okay, now what's that talking about?
I know, it's a naughty title, but it really is. It's about self-esteem, like we're talking about. Integrity, all the great things about what makes a beautiful person.
Well, how did this come about? And you have a co-writer. So how did you and Heidi Lee?
Heidi Lee's the main author.
Oh, okay. So how did that come about?
She asked me to write a piece, and I wrote Recipe for Sexy.
Yes.
And it's the bestseller. It's a bestseller, so I'm very happy. We'll have a book signing this Saturday.
That is so beautiful. So how do you know Heidi?
I met her through the events. When you start
get
writing
out there
and getting out there and networking. She's this wonderful influence. She's a fashion designer who really helps people with self-image and confidence.
Okay, see.
So it was a match.
Yes, it just happens, right? Like you said earlier, little things just the pieces just come together for you.
That's right, but you had to get out there.
Yes.
Is she going to read about the recipes for Sexy?
I did want you to touch on what you wrote, the excerpt that you wrote in that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wrote some ingredients on what makes sexy, and the recipe for sexy. So you have to get this book. We have a book signing at Barnes & Noble.
Okay, so you don't want us to tell the recipe. Okay,
well, their self-expression is very important.
Okay.
Sense of humor.
Yes.
I mean, sense of humor is always integrity.
Right.
Integrity is always there. And you have to have, I believe I put love in there. You have to have love and sense of humor. You have to make me laugh. Sorry.
You're right.
Laughing is important.
That's right. I like what you hit. Marilyn Monroe. I read that.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. Do you know where her quote is in there? Or was it? Yeah, I read it. You can say it. I thought, go ahead. Well, you said about laughing. Marilyn Monroe said if you make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty clever. That's cool. That's true.
And
that is
true. Isn't it?
Yes, it is. I love a man that makes me laugh. Oh. These guys crack me up. I do. A man that makes me laugh is just, it's fun. It's on. It really is. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about sexy as a woman of character.
I'm talking about sexy of everything.
It's character, but from what you're talking about, virtues. It's not necessarily taking off your clothes or whatever.
Not at all.
But it is not dressing nice, like.
But that makes me feel so sexy inside, and it makes that other person so sexy too when they have all these traits.
Wow.
And to me, that's so sexy.
You know what? You're right. You're right. And then Heidi comes along, and she shows us how to. Well, you look all sharp. I got to get. I just Hoel.
But I did want to also touch on where people can find more information about you and your radio show. They can go to thehelenwu.com. I want you to go out and support. Also, they can go to your Facebook fan page, The Helen Wu, on Facebook. I want you to become a friend, receive up-to-date lineups of what she's doing, where she's signing, where she's going to be at. But also, the book signing is in Calabasas. It is a bestseller. Where are you going to be at exactly?
Saturday, February, is that the 7th?
Yes, it's the
7th. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble Calabasas. And hope I can see them there, because I'm going to have a few copies of this.
Are you self-published, or are you with...
No, I'm with Rockstar Publishing House.
Good for you.
So with Self-Aid.
Okay.
And I believe Sexy with No Boundaries is with Morgan James.
Okay,
wow.
Okay. Wow.
Well, Helen, the show is coming to a close. We always like to ask this of all of our guests. The premise of the show is the joy that we have in the midst of any situation. Sometimes when we're having a great day or having even a great year, but sometimes also the joy that we have in our house, sometimes when we're struggling and we're being challenged. So we would love to ask you, what does joy in my house mean to you during this time?
Well, joy in my house, when I read the words, it means my unconditional happiness within myself. And this is my house. This is my house here. And to make myself completely and utterly happy is the most important thing, because then I can exude it elsewhere. I can give it to everyone else. So that's the joy in my house.
Very well said. Very well said.
Well, I think it's great, because I wanted to ask Lolita right now. Also, for you, Lolita, what does joy in my house mean to you today?
Today, after what the pastor talked about was relationships. Today, I was thinking about that. I have about 8 women that I'm kind of either mentoring or sponsoring, and I'm getting a lot from the women. I have 4 lovely sons. I have a wonderful producer, Richard. I love. I mean, meeting you ladies today. Joy in my house is relationships and coming together and using our gifts to encourage others out there. I'm really feeling warm today. How about you?
You know what? Same thing, relationships. I get to spend time with you guys every time we have an amazing guest.
And you do a lot of the work in meeting these people.
I get to meet them, and I get to live vicariously through you, because I think this is a great book. And for you to come on the show and to be transparent and share your struggles, it's not an easy thing, but you do it with such grace and,
Thank
you know, with that smile.
And the love that you show for your family, too. See, that's when I know someone has really gone through the process. You can be angry with your family. You can look at what happened, but then you can also give them grace, forgiveness. I don't hear bitterness and hostility. When somebody's still in that process, I know there's still some healing. But like, you can still give grace. I
love my family.
And you give grace to your family,
Yes,
and I give grace to mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in my house. I want you to go out and find self-aid inspirations to turning your struggles into success. You can find it on Amazon, I believe.
Not just yet. You're going to look at my website first. We're going to do a big launch soon.
Okay, so
Amazon, we can find Sexy with No Boundaries.
Okay.
Sexy with No Boundaries.
And you're going to do
on
self-aid
Amazon. This is a bestseller. She's doing a book signing, Helen Wu. I want you to go out to the book signing in Calabasas. I want you to find this book, Self-Aid, on her website at thehelenwu.com. You can also find her on Facebook, become a friend, receive up-to-date lineups of where she's going to be, where the signing's going to be. Go out and support. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of these people that come on this show really have their heart and soul into their passion projects. You as a listener and viewer, I want you to lend your support, lend your time, your energy, and if you can, finances is always a great way also. But be a part of it. I want you to engage with us. I want you to find us on Facebook /Joy in my house. Find us on Twitter. We will have an Instagram next month. I'm getting ready to launch that as well.
Look at that. And call in the old-fashioned phone. Hello.
The old-fashioned phone. That's right. Helen, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Such a pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want you to catch us live every Sunday here at noon with in-studio guests, with life-changing stories, as you heard right now from Helen, of hope, with faith, and talented people that'll blow you away.
Inspiration.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in my house. I want you to catch us live here every Sunday on www.latalklive.com. You guys have a blessed day. Happy Super Bowl Sunday.